Hi, this is Kevin Garlington from TotalTennisDomination.com, and today I want to tackle the number one issue that I hear a lot of tennis players say they have when they take online tennis courses or they're watching videos online, and that is, I don't have a coach. You're not there. So I'm watching the video and I don't know if I'm doing something right. Now, on one hand, I think this is very true. I think it's very helpful to have a coach, but I don't want that to be a crutch that we hold on to and prevent you from improving. And I think you can make leaps and bounds by watching online tennis courses and watching videos. But the key is getting feedback. That's what you're really saying. How do I get better feedback, or how do I get instant feedback? Now in this video, I want to show you and give you a mental mindset of how I look at somebody when I'm coaching them. So you have a better understanding of what to look for so you can give yourself more feedback and better feedback. So stay tuned if that's something you're interested in, because I know if you figure out how to coach yourself better, you're going to understand the game more and you're going to improve that much quicker. So this isn't your normal video that I normally produce when I'm talking about a stroke or I'm talking about strategy. The reason why I thought this video was so important is because for me personally, when I was a player, you get better with playing in time. But I think when I had the most improvement in my game is when I became a coach. And when I became a coach, you start to look at the game from a different perspective. And when you have that different perspective, you start to know what to look for in your matches when you play after you've been a coach, and what to look for when you watch other people play. So what I want to give you in this video is my mental mindset when I'm looking at somebody, or a student comes to me and they say, Kevin, you know what? I want to improve my forehand. And I go through and feed them a couple balls, and there's a certain breakdown I have of looking at them and figuring out where do I need to start first to get them the most improvement, and where do I go from there to continue the improvement. And I want to give that to you because I think if you can become almost your own personal coach to some extent, you will see the tennis game or see tennis in a different way, which will help you improve that much quicker. Now, I'm not saying you don't need to go out and get coaching. I get coaching as a coach. We all need coaching. But there's also the side of coaching ourselves. So let's get started. The first thing I think you want to consider when you're talking about improving your game, or if you're trying to help somebody else's, is what's their goal and what's their time frame. For me personally, if you come to me and you're asking for me to improve some part of your tennis game, I want to know what's your goal. You know, are you a young kid who wants to go play college tennis? Are you a 3-5 player who just wants to get a little bit better and get more consistent? Are you a college player that's looking to maybe take your game to the next level and try to go professional? All these are very important because it's going to really depend on how I craft my advice and tip for you. Not because I'm not going to give you great advice or the best advice, but I need to know how much of the dosage I need to give you, because if I give you too much, and let's say I give you a dosage of we need to completely tear something down, but we only have a week to do it, that's not going to work. So I want to know what's your goal and what's your time frame. So let's use an example. If I had a 3-5 tennis player and they're coming to me and saying, Kevin, you know what? I'm an okay tennis player. My forehand doesn't have any power. My backhand, I get a little stiff. I want to improve. So the first thing I look at is I say, what's your goal? And basically they're saying, I just want to get a little bit better. I want a little bit of power, and I want to know what you're doing. Like, are you playing 3 times a week? Or are you playing every day? Because the other thing I want to consider is this. If I change your stroke and you're playing 4 times a day, you're probably not going to stick with that stroke because you're going to experience a lot of difficulty in your matches by changing it. If you're playing once a week, that's not so bad. You have 1 match, but we're still having enough time to work on it. So that makes a huge difference and something you want to consider, not only for someone else, but for yourself. So if I'm coaching myself and I go, you know what, I want to make this huge change to my forehand, but you play 4 times a week, more than likely you're already setting the game up to lose because you're not going to do it. You're going to go out to a match, you're going to have a bad experience, and they're going to come back and say, no, I'm not going to work on it. The truth about any change you make, or any video watch, is going to take time. I don't care what anybody says about, you're going to have X number of more power, or you're going to be this or that. It takes time. A lot of times I tell my players or something, give me a month. Give me a month or 2 months and I can make usually most major changes. The second thing I want to look at are what I call the foundational elements of your stroke. And I know it sounds like I'm coaching you, but I'm coaching you to coach yourself. So make sure you keep that in mind. The foundation of what I look at is balance and rotation first. Now you're saying, Kevin, how do I know if I'm in balance? How do I know if I have great rotation? Well, make sure you check out the previous video I did on how to use your iPhone, because that's a great usage of your iPhone or any kind of other phone or video camera that you can get feedback on. So once I look at myself, I want to know basically, am I hitting with balance? What I mean by balance is when I hit, are my shoulders level? Am I falling over? Am I going back when I'm hitting? Because that's one thing that if that breaks down, something else is going to break down, and that's going to have a domino effect. The second thing I want to look at is rotation. Am I rotating? Now, the reason I said balance first is because if I lose my balance, I'm not going to rotate all the way. The whole idea is to keep, don't want to get too technical, we want to keep a good posture, and that good posture allows your body to rotate. The moment you lose your balance and have bad posture, you're not going to be able to rotate, which means your stroke's going to break down at the very fundamental things. Now, the third thing I might look at, which is a little bit more technical, is the grip. You know, you're saying, well, why don't I look at the grip first? I've seen a lot of people with really bad grips, but they have some other fundamentals that are working and they can still get the ball in play. So I look at the grip. And what I ask myself is, you know, is the grip going to be something they can use to hit a ball consistently? I look for extremes. Are they really under the racket, or is it super continental? Those are extremes. Or are they in the middle with a semi-western grip or an eastern grip? If they have grips in the middle, I usually leave that alone. After you've worked through these combination of the fundamentals, I start working my way up, you know, and I work my way up only if I know I have enough time. So if you're really serious about making a change in your game and you're going to give yourself, let's say, a month to make that change, you can work your way up. If it's something where, you know, you want to make this really quick change, then you don't want to make this giant change if you don't have a lot of time. You want to make a smaller change. So let's say you just want to learn to add more spin on your forehand. Well, that's, I consider, a smaller change. You can work on that, and that might take 2 weeks or a week or so if you work really hard. If you're talking about changing your grip or adding more coil and uncoil with the stance, that's a bigger change. I break it down into two categories: major changes and minor changes. Now, I can work on maybe 2 minor changes, like if I'm working on top spin or if I'm working just on stepping into the ball, I think those are minor changes. If I'm working on a major change, I don't work on any other minor change, and I just work on that one major change. A major change is something where it's going to, anything that you have to do that's going to take pretty much all your thought to do it. So for example, if I change my grip, that's going to take a lot of thought to now change my grip and then make sure that I can have my normal swing. That's going to take a lot to focus on, and that's a major change. If I'm working on, let's say, using a new stance on a particular forehand, that's a major change, because you got to think every major change is going to take focus, and anytime you add focus to one thing, you're going to take focus away from what you're trying to do in a match. That's why I don't recommend you playing a lot of matches if you're trying to make a major change. You know, I think you can get away with making 2 minor changes in playing a match, but when you talk about making any major change where it takes all your attention, you're going to really find yourself struggling between wanting to compete and wanting to improve. And you can't do those things at the same time when you're talking about 2 major changes. So keep these things in mind when you go out, because now you have kind of the breakdown. So if I'm trying to improve my game and I'm watching online tennis videos, first thing I want to know is, what's my goal? What's my time frame? Once I know my goal and my time frame, I want to go out, and if I don't have a coach like we're talking about, take a camera and go out and record myself. And I go through and I look at like what's going on. You know, you can tell if you're not rotating. The other really nice thing about if you're trying to improve your game through online tennis videos is that you have a great model. When I mean by model, you have tons of videos out there that show you what the pros are doing. Now, here's the key when you look at the pros. You must look at what I call the foundation and not the cosmetics. So, what do I mean by the foundation and the cosmetics? If you notice, all the pros, and excuse me, having a little issue with my leg here, but all the pros have a unit turn, but how the pros get into the unit turn is totally different. You might have a Nadal who takes the racket up like this, a Federer who takes the racket up this, you have a Djokovic they're all doing different cosmetic things, but the key is the foundation is they're all doing the unit turn. That's what you're looking for. You might be looking, okay, well, Nadal has this buggy whip, you know, the buggy whip. Is that a foundational thing? I wouldn't say the buggy was the foundational thing, but you're looking for something that they all do consistently. Does every pro do the buggy whip every time? No. but they do it under a certain situation. So that's a situational shot they're using. The key is looking for the fundamentals. Another fundamental, you all see them have good balance. You always see the pros, great balance, and they have different types of balance, whether it be dynamic or static, meaning dynamic moving or static staying still. But the key is making sure that when you're trying to coach yourself, you start with a basic mindset of what you're trying to do, and I've broken that down for you. And then you use a model like the pros and you look for the fundamentals, not the cosmetics. All the pros have cool looking cosmetics, and I think we all get caught up in that. I want to have a take back this, insanely up high with the racket flip. That's not necessarily the fundamentals. The fundamental might be the unit turn, the ready position, great balance, good rotation, using your entire body from the core to the legs. So I don't want to make this video too long, but I am curious to hear what you think about this, because I think it's an important topic in our community where we're trying to help you guys and help everybody improve their tennis game. I want to know what you think. Do you find it really hard to work on your game on your own, or do you think you can only improve if you have a coach? If so, leave a comment, leave any questions below, because I want to have a conversation about this, because I think, for us to grow as a community and make better tennis players, this is something that I feel like if we can learn to improve ourselves as coaches and players, then everybody can improve together. So this is Kevin Garlington at TotalTennisDomination.com. And make sure, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment or any questions you might have. And if you want to know more about hitting or improving your game, check out TotalTennisDomination.com or ForehandDomination.com, where I go a lot deeper into how to prove certain parts of your game. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too long, but go out, work on your games, and improve. Thank you.